Why do you not stop stealing? Judge reads decades of crimes before sentencing the defendant.
Parents' house, I'll be taking care of them. My mom has dementia and my dad can barely walk. So I'm kind of like their caretaker.
All right. When people are on probation in this court, I don't allow them to be home health care providers.
Oh, no, I'm not getting paid for it. I go over there and help them out.
Okay.
Yes.
Why were you not doing this before you picked up these new cases?
I've been going over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So here's the court's concern. Looking at your criminal history, you have a criminal trespass. You were placed on deferred adjudication. The motion was withdrawn after a motion to revoke was filed and the case was dismissed. Then you had a theft case in 1995. You were granted 6 months probation. A motion to revoke was filed, then withdrawn. Case was closed. In 1996, you had a driving while intoxicated case. You were given 6 months probation. A motion to revoke was filed. Probation was revoked. You were sentenced to 30 days in the Bexar County Jail. Then in 1997, you had assault, bodily injury, married. You were given deferred adjudication. A motion to adjudicate guilt was filed. You were revoked, sentenced to 6 months. In 1997, you had a driving while license suspended. Your probation was revoked. You were sentenced to 52 days in the Bexar County Jail. And then also in 1997, you had another driving while license suspended, 6 months in the Bexar County Jail. November 1997, driving while license suspended, 6 months in the Bexar County Jail. July 1999, driving while license invalid, enhanced. You were given probation for a year. Motion to revoke was filed. You were sentenced to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail. 2003, you had a theft, $5,500. You were sentenced to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2006, you had a driving while license invalid. You were sentenced to 30 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2006, you had a theft, $50 to $500. You were sentenced to 45 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2006, you had a driving while license invalid, enhanced. You were sentenced to 30 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2007, you have a driving while license invalid. You were sentenced to 30 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2007, you had a criminal trespass to habitation or shelter. You were sentenced to 75 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2023, you had a criminal trespass to private property. You were sentenced to 26 days in the Bexar County Jail. 2007, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. You were sentenced to 6 months in the state jail facility. 2008, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. And a motion to revoke was filed, and you were continued on probation. And then you were revoked and sentenced to 6 months in the state jail facility. 2010, you had a theft, $1,500 enhanced. You were sentenced to 8 months in the state jail facility. 2012, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. You were sentenced to 10 months in the state jail facility. 2013, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. You were sentenced to 12 months in the state jail facility. 2013, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. That was dismissed. You were convicted of another offense instead of that. 2014, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. You were sentenced to 4 months in the state jail facility and given a judgment satisfied under 1244. 2015, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. You were sentenced to 12 months in the state jail facility. August 2015, you had a theft under $1,500 enhanced. That was dismissed. You were convicted of another offense. 2023, you had a theft under $2,500 enhanced. You were convicted of another offense. And then now we have your current offense. Then out of county in Guadalupe County, you have a theft of property. You were sentenced to 60 days. You had a driving while license invalid. You were sentenced to 127 days in New Braunfels.